One more. Why did you first decide that I was the trainer for you to help you with your fitness journey?
So I chose you, Adam, because you actually PT'd my husband first. So he obviously came to you, and just said it obviously was a really, really comfortable experience. I think my body issues are probably a bit more severe than my husband's were for like getting into it and getting into the training. And I think Stephen obviously, and then obviously as I found as well, it was a really, really comfortable feeling with it. Obviously starting the gym with no experience and not the highest body image of myself, that was like the biggest concern for me. So finding someone who I could kind of vibe with in like a more friendly level where obviously like it's like building my confidence, making sure like I kind of know everything, and also just having that aspect where I can kind of ask any question without feeling like a bit like an idiot. Because
Yeah.
I think obviously for people when they're first starting the gym, one of the most embarrassing things that I think it is, it's like when you're going in like how to set up a machine, how to even like move the benches around. Do you know what I mean? Like moving the benches around the top floor of pure Ancos. When they're not moving, it's embarrassing. I feel like I'm trying to reverse park and I don't have a driving license. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So finding that coach where I felt like a bit more empowered to then also then start going on my own and start really trying to work on myself and work on it independently, not just in the one-to-one sessions, more so obviously making sure that there was a coach who's watching what I'm doing outside of sessions was so, so important. And that's where obviously the confidence are kind of built with yourself. And also as I said, oh, sorry, what's that?
You're back.
As
You're
a
back.
Yeah, back. Sorry, it's the battery. As I said, like the confidence you built in Stephen as well was one of those major parts for it. I think obviously word of mouth is so important. And like yeah, as a coach, you'd really be supported. Obviously, me building my confidence to actually go into the gym on my own. One of the biggest things, obviously, for me is I just didn't ever think that I would be able to go to the gym on my own, and now I actually love going on my own. Just because then now I don't have to talk to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was a massive step for you, wasn't it? Like from beginning when you were only going to the sessions really with me, and that was just because of a confidence thing, and you didn't feel like you knew enough to then go in by yourself. That was a huge step, and it did take time. It didn't happen instantly. It wasn't like you went from 0 to 100. We gradually built up that knowledge and that bank of kind of like techniques and what to do if a machine was full and maybe do something else that was similar. And then eventually you felt like you could do it all on your own, which is where you are now. Like you're fully online and doing it all by yourself pretty much.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I mean exactly what you've just said there as well is knowing what to do. It's knowing what to do when the equipment you want isn't of use. It's obviously it's widening that kind of like widening the knowledge, like shortening the knowledge gap of what do I do in the gym when I if I can't follow the program verbatim, what do
Yeah.
I do then? And kind of also as well, like but a big thing as well for it as well is building that confidence for me to then actually go up to someone to ask, obviously when they go into their break to go, how many sets have you got left? Whereas I think a few months back before I was training with you, I would have probably waited silently. I probably would have stood there waiting silently and watched someone do like another hour's worth of sets, silently waiting, hoping to use that machine because I'd feel so awkward. Whereas now I'm more than happy to go and ask that, all right, okay, I'll go do something else. I'll go find a way of obviously still getting that workout that I wanted, still using that same muscle group, but just
Amazing.
using something where I can move on straight away.
Bro, amazing. Would you tell someone who was nervous or scared about getting started? And for you, like if you take your kind of biggest worry or the thing you were most nervous about and working on, how have we worked together online to kind of get over that?
Um, I think what I'd probably say to most people for if they were going in with the mindset that I did, which I think is the regular one of being really nervous, of being like looked at in the gym or being stared at, I think the biggest thing really is which kind of like you've taught me is nobody cares. Everybody's there to everybody's there to improve themselves. Everybody's working on their own thing. Everybody's got their own story. So I think the whole thing with it is nobody really cares about like what you're doing in the gym. Everyone's just there to obviously support themselves. So it's kind of building that confidence so that you're not going in thinking that everyone's staring at you, thinking that everyone's really, really like watching you or judging you. Nobody is. And like that's kind of like my biggest advice really to anyone is don't wait about to there's no point in waiting around because as well, my big thing is I was so unhappy with my body image and so unhappy with where I was at. And then I think it was like in April when I realized I'm so unhappy with it, but I've actually done nothing about it because I've just sat in my head. So that's when obviously then I was like, I reached out to you, Adam, and I basically obviously was like, I want to do something about it. I feel like I'm at this space where I don't think anything's going to change. And I think it's as well like one of the biggest things I think people need is you can't if you've not done like nutrition, if you've not done PT, and if obviously you don't have the actual education, it's so easy to fall into the mindset of
I
nothing will
can't
change.
do it. Yeah,
But it's not, it isn't that. And also you shouldn't really have to expect that you have all that knowledge of yourself. That's when you need to go to a professional and ask like, I've I've looked at different ways of how I could change myself and it's not working. I need advice, I need a strategy, I need a plan. And like that's where I'd really advise people to then go reach out to someone and just obviously look at what they can do and look at is it diet? Is it full training? Is it do you one-on-one sessions in terms of like getting usage and getting your confidence up? There's so many multi-factors that go into it. And I think sometimes people just don't want to even look into the multi-factors. They just think, actually, no, I don't want to do it. It's all too much. I mean, like
yeah,
I waited years to get into it, and that's the only thing I'd probably say I still regret is I could have done this years ago. But I was just so like kind of like nervous. And then I think coming up to 30, I was like, it's kind of now or never. Like, let's actually do something about this.
yeah. And you have done something about it, and you've come in with this like amazing energy from start to where you are now. Like you've rarely missed like ever even a session or a week of training. And if you have, it's been due to illness or things have come up at work. It's been a very like explainable situation. So I think you do have to wait for the right time. You've waited for the right time, and maybe if you tried it years ago, although you wanted to change, it might not have been the right mind space and right time for you. You could have had too many demands from your job and too many demands from personal life. So I think now has been the perfect time for you, and you've just come in with such high energy and momentum, and it's been building. You have transformed. So I am super proud of you. How would you say the online coaching is? You said you had problems with body image and problems with potentially food. How has our relationship through online coaching helped you get over that or work with it and work through it and build to where you are now?
I think for me, and obviously everyone's different, I think for me there's a level of accountability. Having someone who is also obviously not taking full accountability for me, but I'm also having to be accountable for me to someone where they're also looking at it and they're also obviously questioning it is a really good thing. And it's not accountable in the way that I feel judged or anything like that. I feel accountable, it's accountability in the way of support. It's
Yeah,
almost like we're a bit of a team trying to be like, right, well, what's going on here? What's not working there? And I
get the
think
best.
obviously like
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. It's building that rapport as well. So then when something's not quite going right, you know there's someone that is kind of like there to support you, if you know what I mean. And I think on the online side of it, that's where it's really good. So obviously then you basically like let's be honest, we all have our phones in our hands 24/7. So then you kind of just got like that little like network to kind of like ask like, oh, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And it is also, especially on the nutrition side when you're getting them calorie goals, which obviously you can do, like obviously you can like do them like on anything like my fitness pal, all those different like apps. When you get them calorie goals, it's so easy to just fall into right. I'm just going to try and hit them calories, and you're not working smart, so you're basically just working way harder for no real gain back. So obviously one of the things that I obviously did at the very start is I was just trying to hit the calories, and I wasn't actually looking at how am I hitting these calories. So I was just snacking away on anything. And
yeah,
I think obviously the like kind of bit of a breaking point was where you were like, this understand what you're doing, but maybe let's look at it a different way.
yeah. And I think for you, it was just we were trying to get calories up, and then you managed to tick that and you smashed that goal. But then it was like, right now we've got our calories up. Let's look at the quality of these calories. So, and that's
Yeah.
stepwise, and it doesn't all come together at once. Like it takes time, and for you, goal one was to bring calories up and make sure that your energy levels were a bit more stable, and then goal two was to increase the quality of those calories. Goal three was looking at macro distribution and focusing on protein. So there were these different kind of progressions, and it wasn't like overload all at once. And I think you did that very well, and I've never seen anyone go from zero and then get it all right at the beginning. It just doesn't happen. Life doesn't happen like that, And you've smashed certain goals and we've hit certain checkpoints, and that's why I think you've built this momentum that's just carrying to where you are now. So I wouldn't knock yourself for that. You have done really well. Number four, what has been the most challenging thing to work on, change? I think I'm gonna leave that one. I'm gonna skip
Mhm.
straight to the fifth one. And if you want to add in anything from the previous one that you think is notable, then you can. What have you learned about yourself about throughout this program that's most surprised you?
Um, it's quite a good one that. I think one of the big things is I think it's probably the confidence within once I put my mind towards something, I actually have been able to achieve it. And I think obviously there's a major part where I think it really has doing the training sessions with you and obviously doing the online coaching, kind of the journey that I've kind of gone on with like my fitness and like kind of my body confidence. It's very much like it's mind over matter. It's that my I feel like I'd let myself kind of pull myself back, thinking, oh, I won't be able to do this, I won't be able to do that. And kind of just put myself in a bit of a hole, where I was like, right, where am I at into like not thinking I'd ever be able to do any of the gym exercises, not thinking I'd ever have the confidence to go into it. And it has surprised me now. Obviously, my confidence of like just bopping about the gym on my own in my little shorts, like I'm doing the thing that I never thought I would. And I also don't think I thought I'd ever enjoy it. And now I've got into this bit of a routine where if I don't sometimes in a day I'll say, right, I'm gonna go to the gym today. And then if I don't do it, it's not that I'm mad at myself, but it's almost like I've got a bit of FOMO about it. Like I was like, oh, because I feel like I would have enjoyed going to the gym.
Yeah.
And so that's a big thing for me. I think it is one of the ones that has kind of surprised me the most. And also as well, I mean, it has surprised me that like some of obviously like where I've like picked up the strength and where I picked up the like routines quite easily and where I'm progressing in terms of like weight and progressing in terms of like obviously form and stuff like that. It has surprised me where I always thought like I'm not Sporty Spice. I will never say I'm Sporty Spice. But there is bits where I'm like, oh, do you know what? I'm enjoying this. You won't catch me at the Olympics, you won't catch me at the World Cup, but you will catch me in the gym enjoying myself now.
Yeah, smashing a hit for us, like
Yeah. Maybe not the hit for us, mate. But yeah, I think it is that kind of that's one of those things that surprised me. It's just kind of like the confidence that I've now found with it. Where I'm just pretty I go in the gym pretty unbothered, like enjoying it. And like the I'd probably say the first time when I went on my own, I was a little bit like coy and shy, like kind of like, oh, kind of gone back in my head a little bit thinking like, oh, is anyone look at me? And then I was like obviously on the app with you, like talking about like what I was doing. And then I just realized in my head, I was like, nobody, like literally nobody is bothered. And like that was a big thing where I was like surprised at the confidence that I've got with it
apart
now.
from, apart
Um,
from yourself, I mean, we're the ones that are bothered about your progress, but
yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
your immediate vicinity is tracking you or bothered about what you're doing. Like it's because we're all just so bothered about ourselves, so ego, driven, and we're like looking at ourselves. We're quite vain at heart, I think. So we were looking at what
Yeah,
we're.
I think that's it's 100% that. And it's like it's even to the point where like this week, like I was it's I think I was like doing like the dumbbell bench press and like my like I could feel like my arm was gonna fail. And like if that was me on my own, maybe two months ago, and like
Oh,
I hadn't been able to do it around people, best believe I would have had to form myself and gone. I would have been mortified. Whereas now I'm like, right, okay, it didn't work. Like that's just how the routine goes. Like that's we want to try until we fail. We want to try and like obviously like go to the best that we can. And from my side, I was like, right, I'll rest. And then I thought, right, I'll actually move on. And it's also then as well, like when I sat there, I was like, I've got the understanding and the knowledge from you, Adam, to then be like, right, we'll cap that exercise there and we'll move on to something else and we'll start looking at like, right, we'll train a different part of the body as well. And so that is a major learning point for me, which kind of surprised myself as well because I just thought I do I feel like for knowledge to kind of retain with you, you have to have actually had some form of interest and enjoyment into it. And that's where I'm kind of a little bit one big shocking thing for me is actually how much I am now enjoying it.
yeah,
And like how much more like obviously now I'm like, well, what's the next progression? What's the next step? How do I build further? How do I
an amazing thing to be hooked on, and it's
yeah.
something that's positively like reinforce your health and your life to be. Because some people, I feel like when they some of us can get like hyper focused on like achieving something and doing something, and others are just like, oh, I'll take it or leave it. And I feel like you, and also this is where I kind of see myself in you, is that you want to focus on something, you want to hyper focus on it and get good at it. And this is a really positive thing to focus on. And maybe in the past it's been channeled into something that hasn't been something that was maybe good for you, or it's been a bit self-destructive. Whereas this is building you, this is building a stronger personality, it's building a stronger physical body, it's building resilience, it's building your confidence. And that's why I think this has been a transformative journey for you, because you've channeled this hyper focus into something that's actually good for your health.
Yeah, defo. I fully agree.